and why we're often so wrong about it. Previous work has tended to focus on one issue or sphere of life, and few get beyond a handful of countries. You can dig into the full set of Ipsos studies at www.perils.ipsos.com. Across all the studies, and in every country, people get a lot wrong on nearly every subject we've covered, including immigration levels, teen pregnancy, crime rates, obesity, trends in global poverty, and how many of us are on Facebook. But the key question is why? Let's start off with a question that's got very little to do with the sort of social and political realities we'll look at later, but helps to highlight why there might be this gap between perceptions and reality. Is the Great Wall of China visible from outer space? What do you think? If you're anything like the population in general, there's about a 50-50 chance that you answered yes, as surveys show that half of people say they believe the Great Wall is visible from space. They're wrong. It's not. At its widest, the Great Wall is only 9 meters across, about the size of a small house. It's also built of rock that is similar in color to the surrounding mountains, so it blends in with the landscape. When you take a bit of time to think about it, the idea that the Great Wall is visible from space is actually slightly ridiculous, but there are some very good reasons why you might have thought it is. First, it's not something you'll have pondered on a lot. Unlike me, you probably haven't looked up the width of the wall or its distance from outer space, and then got caught up in endless forum discussions about the claim. You don't have the pertinent facts readily available to you. Second, you may have vaguely heard someone say it when you weren't paying much attention. You may have even seen it in print or heard it on the television. For years, Trivial Pursuit had it as an incorrect answer. You're less likely to have seen it in Chinese school textbooks, but it's still noted as a fact in those. However, you've likely seen it somewhere, probably more than once, and haven't seen anything to contradict the assertion, so it settled in your head. Third, you almost certainly answered the question quickly, wanting to get on with the rest of the book. The sort of fast thinking popularized by the Nobel Prize-winning behavioral scientist Daniel Kahneman that relies on mental shortcuts. You may therefore have confused different measures of scale. We know that the Great Wall of China is extremely big. In fact, it's one of the largest man-made structures on Earth. But that is mainly due to its length, which isn't the property that will make it visible from outer space. More important, your answer was also perhaps more emotional than you might think for such a mundane trivia question. Spend some time researching the answer, and you'll discover that even astronauts argue over it. For the record, Neil Armstrong says it's not visible, which is good enough for me. You'll even find photos from seemingly reliable sources purporting to show the Great Wall is seen from space. At least in one case, the photo was of a canal. With something as big as the Great Wall, we want to believe that astronauts, aliens, even gods can see our handiwork. We want it to be true because it's impressive, and this emotional response alters our perception of reality. Drawing on faulty prior knowledge, answering a different question than the one we are asked, juggling comparisons across different scales, relying on fast thinking, and missing how our emotions shape what we see and think are just some of the perils of perception we face every day. The Great Wall of China is a real physical thing, an object that can be measured. Imagine now how the same problems of perception wreak havoc when we are contemplating complex and disputed social and political realities. But there is a final point. Now I've pointed out that the best evidence suggests that the Great Wall is not visible from space. You probably believe me, and if you had a vague idea it was, you've probably changed your mind. Of course, this is not a highly charged debate tied up with your identity and tribal connections, so it is easier to shrug and update your view. But still the point remains that we have the ability to adapt our beliefs in the face of new facts. Having started with literally a trivia question, it is worth emphasizing that this is firmly